Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're out here with Shadowfax today because I want to talk about dry lots. What is a dry lot and why you might need one for your mini horse. Now, not everyone will find that they need a dry lot. We do. So, what is a dry lot? Well, this. You see how there's no vegetation growing? There's hay scattered all over the ground, but there's no vegetation growing. Hi, buddy. Hello, my pony. Oh, my pony. I know. But there's no vegetation growing, right? You can see that. There's grass here. There's no grass in there. A dry lot is essentially a piece of land fenced in where your pony goes that has nothing growing that he can just randomly eat. So you feed him his hay, his feed, yes, but you don't let him graze. Then you normally have an area, and for us, Shadowfax likes to free range out here with us, where he can graze and eat grass. Typically, you would have both areas, ideally. Now, not everybody does, not everyone has the space, but ideally you would have both. You would have a dry lot without vegetation for him to eat, and you would have a pasture area for him to graze. He's had enough of me. So, why might you have a dry lot? So that you can watch Shadowfax run across it, of course. Yeah. Yeah. But for real, why might you have a dry lot? Well, the reason you might have a dry lot is it's not always appropriate for your mini horse to eat this. Let's talk about when and why. So in our case, our spring grasses, not this is barely spring, but our lush spring grasses in May and June are really, really rich. Okay? They're really high in sugars. Very, very high in sugars. The ducks are over there. But they're very high in sugar, right? Not the ducks. The rich spring grasses are high in sugar. So that high in sugar is a big deal. Why? Well, if your pony consumes too much hay, too much grass that is really high in sugar, grass that hasn't been dried out and turned into hay, but it's very, very rich, they can founder. That's basically getting an infection in their hooves, and they get sick, and they get overweight, and it's a big thing, okay? Founder isn't fun. It's difficult to deal with. It can actually kill your horse. Decades ago, we lost a horse named Fox to founder. Okay, that was, 90s. In the early 90s, we lost a horse to founder. It's the only one we ever lost to founder. We couldn't save her. Her name was Fox, and she was adorable, and we loved her. We couldn't save her. So we do everything we can to avoid founder now. And the big thing you want to avoid is having your pony grazing on fresh spring grasses. Those fresh spring grasses can very easily basically overload your pony. They're too rich for him, and they can make him sick, and they can even kill him. So that's one reason. Comes another duck. She wants to join the group. Duck, duck, duck. Duck, duck, duck. Hurry. Hurry, they're leaving without you. Hurry. She's on her way. Anyway, here goes the other one. They're working on it. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Why else might you want a dry lot? Well, as we've talked about before, mini horses are prone to getting very chunky. They are prone to chunkiness, to all kinds of chunky. Yeah. Did you just take a cookie out of my pocket? Yeah, you did, didn't you? But they are prone to getting a little bit chunky. They tend to put on that weight. When they put on that weight, it's unhealthy for them. And a lot of minis if left to their own devices, are literally going to sit out here and chomp all day. Literally all day. He would sit out here and he would just eat and eat and eat and eat. And even when those grasses are not super rich, so even once we hit late July and then early August when it's perfectly safe for him to graze, we still limit his time because he will get so chonky. And if you're chonky, then you are prone to metabolic diseases, which are a problem with miniature horses anyway. It's just better to keep him off a dry lot, to keep him on the dry lot and let him graze under supervision when we can control how much he's eating. So when you see somebody who's keeping their mini horses in a little paddock, not too small, like this is not that small, but you see a paddock where he is prancing around being his own sweet little Shadowfax self, when you see them in a paddock, what you don't want to do is immediately criticize. Well, he should be out on grass. Well, maybe he is sometimes, and he is a lot when he can be. But let's be honest. Don't chomp me. But let's be honest, he should not be out on this all the time. If I had him out on this, I could kill him. And I really don't want to do that. We love this little guy. He's our little buddy. We don't want anything bad to happen to him. So for his own health and well-being, we keep him on the dry lot primarily with plenty of food. He's not starving. He's got all his hay. He gets his grain. He gets his balancing feed, his ration balancers. He gets all of that good stuff. All of it. He's not starving. We are not going to put him out on this all the time for him to gain weight and possibly founder. It's just not a good idea. So he stays on his dry lot, and we monitor anytime he's out on here. Okay? We need to monitor that. We need to make sure he is healthy and he is safe. That's our job. We're responsible for him. So we don't let him gallop around on here all of the time. So when you see a little guy kept on basically what is bare dirt, bare sand, or bare gravel, or whatever the person has that they keep the pony on, make sure you understand that there's a very good reason for that. Yes, you're a good boy. But there's a really good reason for that. Okay? It's for their own good. We have to keep them from constantly standing around and eating all of this. It's not good for them. So that's just a little bit about dry lots and why a lot of people who have mini horses and even standard size horses will have a dry lot for their horses, especially if they're breeding. Oftentimes you want to take mares who are pregnant off of grass, especially if you have fescue. We've talked about fescue before in another video where it is just not good for pregnant mares as they get further along in their pregnancy. So you also might have a dry lot for that. In our case, it's because we don't want him getting chonky and we don't want him getting foundered. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Let me know if you keep your little guy on a dry lot. We'll see you tomorrow.